Take a look at these AI videos coming out of this brand new startup called Higgsfield. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that these are some of the most realistic and beautiful AI videos that we've seen. Now, what's the most remarkable thing about this is that this AI video generator was trained using 100 times less GPUs than Sora. And let me tell you why that's particularly interesting. Well, it means that it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper, a hell of a lot faster, and we're going to expect to get our hands on this tool a lot sooner than we will with Sora. So if you're excited about making AI video, let's explore these latest previews, tools, and technologies coming out of Higgsfield together. And make sure to watch till the end because I found a new, unseen, 2-minute long AI music video created by Sora that we're also going to break down and take a look at. So Higgsfield has announced that we are a foundational model company that wants to democratize social media creation for everyone. And this means two things. Essentially, Higgsfield are creating a big pre-trained model that provides a base layer of knowledge and capabilities. It can be fine-tuned or adapted for specific tasks, such as generating, enhancing, or analyzing videos. If you're new here, my name is Samson, and on this channel we talk about the latest AI news and possibilities. So right now, Higgsfield are working on 2 products. The first is an app called Diffuse, and this is currently available on iOS. But what I'm most excited about is their foundational AI video generation model. And we've got some previews to take a look at from that. So here we can see some of the videos coming out of Higgsfield. And what's particularly interesting here is to note how coherent the face is of this individual. You can see that the proportions are completely realistic and natural, and there is nothing to tell you obviously that this is an AI generated video. You can say that perhaps there is a slight flattening of the color and that the dynamic range is not so high. You would also say that the individual details and elements of this video are perhaps not as fine as you would imagine in a real photo or video. For example, looking at the strands of hair and the perhaps slightly airbrushed feel to her skin. If we just notice how the shadows change across her face in this example. Yeah, so it really gives a lifelike feel of her moving through a forest and the sunlight being changed by the way that she turns and moves in the shadows. So here they're demonstrating how quickly their product has evolved. This is just in January, just a couple of months ago. This man's hand is just a blob. This guy has a very small head and an extremely large ball or baseball. And now you can see what it's like today. The proportions have hugely increased, the coherence, but also just to point out that the text is not being rendered effectively here in the corner. However, the quality of the images coming out, and specifically the movement, complex movements, are being rendered very accurately with this tool. Now, there really is a lot of lifelike motion and incredible detail to the videos coming out. I'm particularly impressed with the humans and the realistic style of video being produced. Now, one thing that often AI struggles with is teeth. It has a tendency to render extra rows of teeth or essentially not create a mouth that is coherent and believable. But here you have a really fantastic rendering of a mouth, and the general overall feel of the shot it's very candid. It feels certainly very soft, almost like a documentary style video. I mean, here you can see we're starting to get something that's a little bit oversaturated, but I particularly appreciate the light flares that are coming through here, these extra touches of realism that lend a more atmospheric feel to the video. Now, the reason why this is particularly impressive is because the generative models underpinning the platform were developed by a 16-person team. Just 16 people made this possible. And they did this in less than 9 months. And it was trained on a cluster of 32 GPUs. Now, 32 GPUs might sound like a lot, but considering OpenAI uses tens of thousands, it's not really at all. And that's a really key point here. And that's because Sora from OpenAI, which is the AI video generator that's producing the most impressive videos right now, requires a huge amount of compute power to train. And it's estimated that it used between 4,200 to 10,500 GPUs to train. And that is an order of magnitude 130 to 328 times more than what Higgsfield is using. So the quality results that they have attained with a small team using only a few GPUs is quite incredible. And the reason why this is so exciting is because it will be much cheaper, much faster to run than Sora is. And that means that we're likely to be able to access it publicly for a much more reasonable cost and not have to wait so long for the rendering times to get our videos out. Now, it's also important to note just how expensive an NVIDIA GPU is, and that a single one costs $40,000. There's no wonder that NVIDIA's stock price is exploding these days, with every startup under the sun trying to get their hands on these GPUs. And with OpenAI using 10,000 GPUs, that's going to be costing them about $400 million just for the computer costs themselves. And it's understood that Sam Altman actually wants investment in the billions to have the computing power possible to train even more powerful models. So this is not a cheap enterprise. So here are a few more examples that we can see coming out of Higgsfield, and the colors here are absolutely sensational. I'd like you to pay attention to how consistent the color themes are from these different clips. You can see they're really showing how you could use this tool to generate a makeup ad for social media. And that's really leveraging the exact use cases that they have identified. That's using realism and creating content for social media. Now here we can take a closer look at one of the stills from the previews, and you can see just how beautiful, lifelike, and natural the rendering of this woman is. I want you to pay particular attention to how the light is being caught by the glitter on her eyeshadow, as well as how natural these shadows fall across her face, really giving it a sense of realism, authenticity, and beauty. Now, I would say there is nothing anatomically that I can pick out from this image that seems unnatural. If you see something that doesn't quite fit, do let me know in the comments. Yeah, perhaps the only thing I can notice is in the teeth here, they maybe look a little bit short. Maybe this one looks a little bit smaller than that one, which would be kind of unnatural for a woman. And perhaps you would expect to see this other tooth appearing here. But this is me being particularly pernickety. And maybe this hand here, yeah, that hand there is not being rendered particularly accurately. You would like to see some more definition in the fingers here. But it took me a little while to spot these inconsistencies in the rendering. They're saying that they're not focusing on abstract situations, but just looking at some of the abstract shots in this sequence, like this beautiful psychedelic hand going into the water is pretty incredible, as well as this molting rock here. Now, one thing to note is that Mashrabov, one of the founders of Higgsfield, wouldn't reveal the source of Higgsfield's training data, other than saying it comes from multiple publicly available places. So it's likely we're also going to have some furore or outcry about where the data for these AI video models has been taken from. I believe that it's likely that they've scraped YouTube for these videos, because publicly available does not mean copyright free. Now, it looks like it produces 7-second clips, which is quite large comparing to the available video generators out there today, which are generating around about 4-second clips. Now, it also gave us the prompt for one of the videos that it generated on its system. And the prompt was, a colorful iguana sits still while looking ahead. Beams of bright light move across the surface. And it looks fairly realistic. However, the only thing I would note is it seems like the floor is breathing. It looks like the ground is moving as if the iguana is sitting on another animal, which gives it a slightly disorientating feel. But I would say it's particularly beautiful, coherent, and the only things I would notice is if we look at the hand here of the iguana, it seems to move without him actually moving. So just follow this hand here. See there, it seems to retract needlessly. And this is one of the elements of understanding that AI video models are yet to grasp is keeping consistency in reality with how objects and animals move, that their hands do not extend and grow in a few seconds. And it's only as they develop a better understanding of the rules that govern reality that we will get more realistic videos. Now, let's turn to the mobile app offering called Diffuse. And let's take a look at their preview video together. So here you can see the preview of the app demonstrating how they plan to allow people to create short animated dancing videos using the AI video generation feature, simply uploading a single selfie and being able to turn that into an animated dancing avatar. So you can see here that you're able to simply upload an image of your face, and they are going to map that on to dancing characters. Now, if we're taking a look at the quality of the videos coming out of here, we can see that they're heavily stylized. They've really got a very strong aesthetic style coming through that is defining the visual of the video. However, I would say that the motion is extremely lifelike and natural and smooth. It appears that there is very little incoherence inside of the movements, as well as looking at the anatomy of these individuals, it appears that they're all working fairly naturally. So this is the video app that is available. And it simply allows you to upload an image and turn it into a fun-filled dance video. Now, this is showcasing one very particular avenue of AI video. However, Higgsfield has the intentions for creating a whole host of different products and use cases. And this is just one example of what they're going to be working on. Now, the app is now available for download in India, South Africa, the Philippines, Canada, and Central Asia. And they're gradually rolling that out globally. However, the video generation model is available only by invitation at the moment. You can join a waitlist on their website to be one of the first to receive access to that. But we can imagine it to be coming out very soon, and especially much sooner than we're going to be seeing Sora. They're also currently on a huge hiring drive and hiring in London and New York. Also, interestingly, it's the former Snap AI chief who is heading up this startup. So he has a good background in running a large competitive social media company. And what's really interesting about Higgsfield is that they are targeting social media. There are a few industries or buckets that AI video startups are going to be targeting. And then this includes pure video generation, focusing on video editing or more advanced storytelling, video avatars, and also social media and events. So Higgsfield are producing these two products, their app with a very narrow social media-based use case, as well as their foundational video model, which will have a lot more capabilities and flexibility to create a whole wide range of different videos. Now, Higgsfield are focusing essentially on a couple of approaches for their video model. Firstly, they're looking to allow for unparalleled personalization and control, which means they're going to allow you to take your video and re-render it with changes. So you can take a video and say, actually, I want this character to be wearing a different outfit. I want this object to be included in the corner of the scene. And they're really focusing on a realism approach. They're looking to be able to generate realistic looking humans and environments. So they're not focusing so much on animated or abstract situations. So what's particularly exciting about this is that it looks like we're getting tools that are Sora-like, that are going to be more accessible to the whole wide public, giving us the capabilities to create our own beautiful, mesmerizing AI videos. Now, OpenAI have been releasing a few more thirst traps for those AI video enthusiasts like myself. And the latest one we've got to see is an official music video made by August Camp with Sora. So what's particularly interesting about this is we can see that it's got a real beautiful, consistent style between the shots, a consistent color palette, as well as a consistent style and tone. This lends to a more immersive experience, and you can see that we're really being taken through a very dreamlike psychedelic experience with a number of shots that are quickly switching and taking us deeper into a mystical forest where we see a beautiful crystal. Now you can see the effectiveness with which Sora is able to adjust its camera movement with quick zooms, panning shots, and also drone-like. Now, this video is certainly offering some beautiful examples of how this technology can be used. It's wonderful to see a more artistic approach to the tool and actually taking different clips and combining them into something that creates a more coherent, consistent narrative. Now, it's beautiful. Look at this shot, just how the parallax effect of the foreground moving at a different speed to the background is generated. Now, this is not easy to understand, how if you have two objects moving at the same speed, that the background is going to be moving faster than the foreground. And the fact that Sora understands that is quite remarkable. Now, the ability for Sora to generate vastly different scenes is quite beautiful, that it has such a beautiful range. I mean, this is a very abstract, quite low fidelity experience of this almost cave diving experience, but it's able to render that with quite a high level of resolution. So it's great to see these tools being put in the hands of visual artists, and we're starting to get a real feel of what's possible. And what's beautiful about this is it's a brand new artistic medium, and we're going to have the opportunity to express ourselves as humans in entirely new ways. It's now easier to take your ideas and turn them into reality. And I, for one, am incredibly excited about that. And if you would like to continue on this journey of learning about these new tools, technologies, and possibilities for creatives, then why not subscribe and join the channel, as I'll always be here to take you through the latest news, insights, and possibilities of AI. Thank you very much for watching. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm very curious how you found this video. What did you find most interesting? What excites you most about the possibility of AI video? And if you have any feedback at all on my videos, I'm very open to hear. And I really appreciate you taking the time to let me know how you experience these videos. And most of all, I want to wish you a delightful day.